seriously of Nigel Farage and Reform is, do they love our country? Do they want to serve our country, all of it, our beautiful, tolerant, diverse country, every region, nation and city? Or do they just want to stir the pot of division? Asylum for people genuinely fleeing persecution is the mark of a decent, compassionate country. But conference, secure borders are also vital for a decent, compassionate country.
Have you noticed something strange about British politics this week? The party in power barely mentioned the Conservatives because Labour has picked a new main opponent. In Liverpool, Sir Keir Starmer stood on stage and pointed straight at Reform UK and Nigel Farage, framing Britain's next choice as renewal or decline, decency or division, and asking a blunt question. When was the last time you heard Nigel Farage say anything positive about Britain's future? He doesn't like Britain, Starmer said. And that line landed like a drumbeat through the conference hall. If you care about UK Immigration 2025, ILR changes, UK visa rules, apprenticeships, the NHS, or the cost of living and tax debate, this is the speech that set out how Labour plans to fight. Before we dive in, if you want clear, daily updates that turn government speeches into real, usable actions, tap like, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell. This is your UK Immigration Express. Let's start with the politics, because the politics explain the policies. Labour's conference in Liverpool wasn't a gentle victory lap, it was a re-aiming of the cannon. Reform UK has been setting the agenda on immigration and crime, and is competitive or leading in headline polls and projections, which is historically unusual for a party outside the traditional two. That's why you heard Labour MPs and ministers repeatedly talk about Farage and reform, and why Starmer cast the fight in existential terms. A test of the country's future. This is about seizing the national story back from Reform UK and making patriotism Labour's theme, not the right's. From there, Starmer built a patriotic frame he's been layering for weeks. After far-right linked flag rallies and viral clashes, he said Britain will never surrender its flag to those who use it as a symbol of violence, fear, and division. And Liverpool, that line was echoed visually, a sea of Union flags and national colors, and a leader insisting the flags belong to all of us. The symbolism was deliberate. Labour wants to reclaim national pride as inclusive, not exclusionary, patriotism as service to the common good. Now, what actually changes if Labour's story holds? First, education and skills. Starmer scrapped Tony Blair's old target of 50% of young people going to university. In its place is a broader goal. By the 2030s, 2040s horizon, 2/3 of young people should be going to university or into gold standard apprenticeships, backed by investment in new technical excellence colleges and more money for further education. Translation for families, university stays central, but high-quality apprenticeships and technical routes will be pushed hard, funded and tracked. Think practical pathways into growth sectors, not a second-class Plan B. To make that real, the FE sector is due a funding bump, briefed at nearly £800 million next year. And ministers touted the creation of new technical excellence colleges. Expect tighter employer links, more apprenticeship places, and a push to guarantee a job, training, or placement for young people classed as NEET. For viewers asking how this hits immigration and visa policy, a stronger domestic skills pipeline is Labour's political answer to the claim that immigration is all we need for workers. The message is train our own and set higher standards for those who come. Second, the NHS and an HS Online. Alongside Health Secretary Sweet Streeting, Starmer pitched a modernized National Health Service, including virtual services and a move to get more care outside hospitals. This isn't a minor branding tweak. It's Labour trying to show reform and investment together. Use digital to cut waiting lists and give quicker access. Details will arrive through budgets and implementation plans, but the direction, online triage, remote monitoring, and virtual wards was hammered home in the hall. Third, the toughest and most contested area, immigration and settlement rules. The Home Secretary set out proposals to tighten how migrants gain permanent settlement, indefinite leave to remain, ILR. Think of it as earn the right to stay. High standard English, clean criminal record, sustained work and national insurance contributions, no reliance on benefits, and a visible contribution to community life like volunteering. There's talk in briefings of stretching the 5-year track to something closer to 10 years in some categories, or adding contribution tests before settlement. Consultations and the final drafting will matter, but the direction is crystal clear: contribution-based settlement. If your audience includes skilled worker visa holders, care workers, family migrants, students switching to graduate or skilled worker, or anyone planning the UK ILR 2025 to 2026 route, this is the headline they need to hear. Let's pause on that because it's huge. For years, the immigration promise many planned around was simple: time plus compliance. 5 years on a qualifying route with lawful residence, then ILR, or 10 years of continuous lawful residence across routes. Labor's message now is that time alone may not be enough. You need to show you're woven into society: language, work, contributions, and conduct. This is political positioning against Reform UK's much harsher ideas, but it's also a practical tightening that will affect real lives and timelines. For viewers, if you're on a route to ILR, start curating proof now. English certification at the right level or higher, keep a clean and consistent employment record, track national insurance contributions, document community involvement like volunteering, local projects, mentoring. Store this evidence in a single, backed up folder. If you're on the family route under Appendix FM, be ready for more probing on public funds and integration. If you're a student moving towards skilled worker, the graduate route may face tighter scrutiny, and settlement is likely to be show not tell. The direction of travel is clear. The fourth big axis is the economy and tax. Last year's first Labour budget raised roughly £40 billion, one of the biggest tax-raising packages in decades, framed as necessary to stabilize the public finances and fund services. That history hangs over this autumn's budget debate. Starmer ruled out a wealth tax in the speech and promised discipline, yet briefings around the hall talked about a significant fiscal gap that could still require tough choices. On welfare, there's active briefing that Chancellor Rachel Reeves is exploring options around the 2-child benefit cap, potentially lifting or tapering it, hugely consequential for child poverty and family finances, and business groups are braced for what might fund it. The PM's line to the party: "We asked a lot last time and will have to keep making tough decisions."
Outside, polls and MRP seat models keep flashing warning lights. Satisfaction with the government is shaky. Reform UK dominates the conversation and is highly competitive nationally. Let's stitch the threads together and some practical takeaways your viewers can use. If you're an immigrant planning ILR or settlement in the next 12 to 36 months, start acting as if the contribution tests already exist. Gather English qualifications at the likely required level or higher. Keep a clean and consistent employment record. Track national insurance contributions. Document community involvement, volunteering, local projects, mentoring. Store this evidence in a single, backed-up folder. If you're on the family route under Appendix FM, be ready for more probing on public funds and integration. If you're a student moving towards skilled worker, understand that the graduate route may face tighter scrutiny, and settlement is likely to be show, not tell. The direction of travel is clear. If you're a parent or student weighing university versus apprenticeship, the government will tilt incentives toward high-quality technical routes, more FE money, technical colleges, and a 2/3 participation ambition that includes apprenticeships. Employers will be courted hard. Expect more local skills compacts and sector deals. Action point: don't wait for the perfect scheme. Get on the radar of employers now. Build a portfolio and look for courses that map cleanly to real jobs. If you're a health worker or NHS watcher, NHS Online and virtual care are signals of service redesign, not slogans. Expect procurement for platforms, remote monitoring pilots expanding, and new targets tied to digital throughput. For patients, you'll see more triage via apps and remote teams. For clinicians, digital documentation and virtual ward capacity will shape rotas and career paths. If you're a campaigner, the rhetorical terrain has shifted. Labour's play is to make patriotism inclusive and pin division on Reform UK. Expect more flag-heavy moments and moral language about national renewal. Whether you agree or not, that's the frame you'll be debating inside. And yes, there are tensions. Some Labour MPs and activists worry that chasing reform on rhetoric normalizes their agenda. Others say the climate brief barely featured. Union voices want more on wages and conditions, and fiscal hawks are nervous about big-ticket welfare moves without funding lines. But the leader's office did what it set out to do: define the fight, reclaim the flag, and push a contribution-based model on immigration and settlement while promising skills, apprenticeships, and a modern NHS. That's the new thumbnail of Labour's Britain. So where does this leave you, the viewer, planning life, study, work, or family in the UK? For immigration and ILR, assume higher bars and get ahead on proof. For study and careers, watch for new apprenticeship capacity and technical routes. Apply early and tie learning to real employers. For family budgets, keep an eye on the November budget. Taxes, benefits, and public service funding will decide how much of this agenda can actually be delivered. If this breakdown saved you hours of reading, do me a favor. Like the video so it reaches more people, subscribe for daily UK immigration updates and UK visa news 2025, and drop a comment with the one policy you need help translating into action. I read every comment, and I'll prioritize videos that solve your real problems. ILR documentation checklists, student to skilled worker pathways, sponsor license news, and quick explainers on settlement rule changes. This is UK Immigration Express, your fast, factual guide to UK immigration, visas, and settlement. See you in the next one.